Part 1. Introduction, Sowing the Seeds of Mystery. Welcome, seekers of ancient truths, to a realm where the flickering candlelight dances upon forgotten parchments, illuminating tales whispered across millennia. Tonight, we pull back the veil on a story so profound, so unsettling, that it reverberates through the very foundations of our understanding of good and evil, of creation and chaos. What if the heavens themselves bore witness to a rebellion that touched the earth, leaving behind a legacy both magnificent and monstrous? What if, nestled within the apocryphal shadows, lies a narrative that speaks not only of divine judgment, but of the very nature of humanity's ancient struggles? Join us as we embark on a journey into the enigmatic Book of Giants, a text that promises to reveal the compelling, often terrifying, saga of the offspring born from the unholy union between celestial beings and mortal women. Prepare to confront the forgotten echoes of an antediluvian world, where colossal figures roamed the earth and the consequences of divine transgression reshaped history itself. We seek not merely to recount a story, but to uncover its profound theological implications, to understand why such a narrative held sway and what it might still teach us today about the unseen forces that have always influenced the human condition. Part 2. The Journey of Deep Discovery. The historical context. Before the flood, beyond the canon. To truly appreciate the Book of Giants, we must first transport ourselves to a world vastly different from our own, a spiritual landscape rich with oral traditions, burgeoning written texts, and a profound sense of the immediacy of the divine. The Book of Giants, though not part of the biblical canon, is an ancient Jewish text, closely associated with the Book of Enoch and other apocalyptic literature that circulated widely in the centuries leading up to and during the Second Temple period, roughly 539 BCE to 70 CE. Its fragments, notably discovered among the Dead Sea Scrolls at Qumran, testify to its significant popularity and influence within certain Jewish communities. These were times of intense spiritual inquiry, eschatological expectation, and a vibrant tradition of expanding upon, explaining, and sometimes even correcting the narratives found in what would become the canonical scriptures. The historical backdrop is crucial. Genesis 6:1-4 presents a stark, almost cryptic passage about sons of God taking daughters of men as wives, resulting in the birth of the Nephilim, described as mighty men who were of old, men of renown. This brief account ignited centuries of speculation. Who were these sons of God? What were the Nephilim? The Book of Giants, alongside 1 Enoch, sought to answer these questions, providing an elaborate, dramatic backstory for the events leading up to the Great Flood. It wasn't merely a supplementary text. For many, it provided essential context for understanding the pervasive corruption and violence that necessitated such a cataclysmic divine intervention. It offered a lens through which the moral chaos of the pre-flood world, often glossed over in the terse biblical account, could be understood in horrifying detail. Decoding the scripture, the Watchers, their offspring, and their reckoning. The Book of Giants, in essence, expands upon the Genesis 6 narrative, identifying the sons of God as a specific group of angels known as the Watchers. These Watchers, led by figures like Shemihaza and Azazel, descended from heaven, not on divine assignment, but in a brazen act of rebellion. They lusted after mortal women, broke their celestial vows, and taught humanity forbidden knowledge, metallurgy, cosmetics, sorcery, astrology, knowledge that corrupted rather than enlightened. It was from their illicit unions that the giants were born. These were the Nephilim, described in the text as monstrous, colossal beings whose appetites knew no bounds. They consumed all human sustenance, then turned upon humanity itself, devouring flesh and spilling blood, leaving a trail of desolation and despair. The surviving fragments paint vivid, often disturbing, pictures. We encounter the giants themselves, grappling with prophetic dreams that foretell their destruction. One fragment describes Mawe, a giant embarking on a cosmic journey, flying through the air to seek counsel from Enoch, the wise patriarch who walked with God. Other portions describe the giants' lamentations, their realization of their impending doom, and their desperate pleas to Enoch for intercession. We witness their brutal reign, their insatiable hunger, and the suffering they inflicted upon the earth. The text delves into their individual names and deeds, giving them a personality and agency far beyond the brief mention in Genesis. Here, the Nephilim are not just abstract figures. They are actors in a cosmic drama, the tragic consequence of angelic disobedience. The language is often apocalyptic, full of vivid imagery of destruction, moral decay, and the ultimate judgment of both the fallen angels and their monstrous progeny. The hidden theological meaning, the nature of evil, and the cosmic struggle. Beyond the fantastical narrative of giants and fallen angels, the Book of Giants grapples with profound theological questions that resonate even today. Firstly, it offers a robust explanation for the origin and pervasiveness of evil in the world prior to the flood. It externalizes evil, attributing it not solely to human depravity but to the direct influence and corruption of rebellious angelic beings. This perspective provides a cosmic framework for the struggle against sin, positioning humanity as caught in a larger celestial conflict. It suggests that evil is not merely an internal human flaw but an active, intelligent force unleashed by beings of immense power. Secondly, the text underscores the sanctity of divine boundaries and the catastrophic consequences of transgression. The Watchers' decision to leave their appointed stations and interfere with the human realm represents a fundamental violation of the created order. Their sin is not just lust, but a usurpation of divine prerogative, leading to the distortion of creation itself. The giants, their offspring, become the living embodiment of this brokenness, a hybrid race that is neither fully human nor fully angelic, embodying a perversion of God's design. This narrative serves as a stark warning about the dangers of unchecked power, forbidden knowledge, and the corruption that arises when divine order is defied. It emphasizes God's ultimate sovereignty and his unwavering commitment to justice, even if it requires a drastic cleansing of the earth. Controversies and theories, a lost history or a dangerous heresy. The Book of Giants, like its close relative 1 Enoch, occupies a contested space in religious history. While it was widely read and revered by some communities, particularly among the Essenes at Qumran, it ultimately did not find its way into the Jewish or Christian canons. Why? Scholars propose several reasons. One theory suggests that its vivid, sometimes elaborate, expansions on biblical narratives were deemed too speculative, straying too far from the perceived simplicity and authority of the established texts. Its detailed angelology and demonology may have been seen as potentially leading to dangerous theological interpretations or even polytheism. Another perspective posits that the text's emphasis on the physical offspring of angels might have been viewed as problematic by later rabbinic Judaism, which favored a more allegorical interpretation of Genesis 6, viewing the sons of God as human rulers or righteous individuals, not literal angels. For early Christians, while 1 Enoch was initially influential, Jude even quotes from it. A growing concern about differentiating canonical scripture from apocryphal works eventually led to its exclusion. Some scholars also suggest that the Book of Giants, with its focus on a pre-flood catastrophe caused by angelic intervention, might have presented a theological challenge to the emerging doctrines of human free will and personal sin. Regardless of the precise reasons, its exclusion from the canon left a fascinating, yet unsettling, void in the mainstream narrative, transforming it from a vital part of ancient Jewish thought into a mysterious, often overlooked, relic of a bygone era. Part 3. Conclusion. The Echoes of Eternity. We have journeyed through the twilight of an ancient world, guided by the flickering light of forgotten words, to explore the chilling narrative of the Book of Giants. We have confronted the audacious rebellion of the Watchers, witnessed the monstrous reign of their Nephilim offspring, and grappled with the profound consequences that necessitated a divine cleansing. This text, though standing outside the formal canon, offers a powerful lens through which to examine humanity's struggle with evil, the sanctity of divine order, and the enduring power of justice. Perhaps the true significance of the Book of Giants lies not in its historical accuracy or its canonical status, but in its capacity to provoke deeper contemplation. What does it reveal about the enduring human fascination with origins, with the nature of evil, and with the unseen forces that shape our world? Does it not compel us to ask, what boundaries, both seen and unseen, are we called to respect? What lessons can be gleaned from the cataclysmic consequences of pride and transgression, not just for ancient giants, but for humanity in every age? The tale of the fallen angels and their colossal progeny serves as a timeless echo, a profound and unsettling reminder that the cosmos is far more intricate and the battle between light and shadow far more ancient than we often dare to imagine. And in that reflection, the faint glow of the ancient candle continues to illuminate questions that resonate within our very souls.